Construction workers nicknamed the bridge Galloping Gertie because it swayed in the wind. The engineers who designed it knew. The public who drove across it every day felt it, and for exactly 4 months, everyone thought it was fine. You're listening to The Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Today, the third longest suspension bridge in the world destroys itself in 11 minutes, and the whole thing is caught on film. This episode's narration is AI-generated. The research, writing, and editorial decisions behind every story are made with care for accuracy and respect for those involved. July 1st, 1940. Two-Ko-Mer Narrows, Washington. The Two-Ko-Mer Narrows Bridge opens to traffic, a 2,800-foot main span stretching across Puget Sound. It's the third longest suspension bridge in the world. Slender, elegant, designed by Leon Moy Ziff, the engineer who designed the Golden Gate Bridge. Only 39 feet wide, 8-foot-deep plate girders holding up the roadway. The most flexible suspension bridge ever built. And from the day it opens, the deck moves beneath every car that crosses it. The motion isn't subtle. Drivers feel the bridge rise and fall in waves. One sidewalk lifts while the other drops. On windy days, the oscillations are visible from shore, the roadway undulating like a ribbon in the breeze. The workers who built the bridge had already given it a nickname during construction, Galloping Gertie. The public loves it. People drive across just to feel the motion. It becomes a tourist attraction, the bridge that moves. The engineers know about it. Of course they know about it. Leon Moy Ziff designed the bridge to be flexible. That was the point. Slender, light, cost-effective. He'd argued for this design over a more conventional proposal from Washington State engineer Clark Eldridge, whose design used deep trusses and cost more. Moy Ziff's design saved money. It was approved because it was cheaper, and for 4 months the bridge sways, and everyone drives across it anyway. Two-Ko-Mer is a city of 80,000 people on the southern edge of Puget Sound. The bridge connects the city to Gig Harbor on the Kitsap Peninsula. Before the bridge, the only way across was by ferry, a slow, weather-dependent crossing. The bridge is supposed to fix that, a permanent connection, a triumph of modern engineering. It just moves a little, that's all. By September, the motion is getting worse. Engineers install tie-down cables, thick steel cables anchored to 50-ton concrete blocks on either side of the bridge. The idea is to hold the deck in place, dampen the oscillations. The cables snap. They try again. Hydraulic dampers are installed between the towers and the deck. Shock absorbers, essentially, to absorb the motion. During sandblasting to prepare the surfaces, the damper seals are damaged. They don't work either. Every fix fails. Or makes it worse, and the bridge keeps swaying. Professor Frederick Burt Farquharson at the University of Washington builds wind tunnel models of the bridge. He tests different configurations. He's trying to figure out what's happening and how to stop it. On November 2nd, 1940, Farquharson completes his studies. He recommends drilling holes in the deck to let wind pass through or adding deflector vanes to disrupt airflow. The solution is found 5 days before the bridge collapses. Micro cliffhanger 1. And then 4 days after the engineers found the answer, the wind came. November 7th, 1940. 9:45 in the morning. Leonard Coatsworth, an editor at the News Tribune, is driving across the Two-Ko-Mer Narrows Bridge. His daughter's cocker spaniel, Tubby, is in the back seat. It's a grey morning. Winds are gusting around 40 miles per hour. Not unusual for Puget Sound, not extreme, but the bridge is moving differently this time. The deck isn't just rising and falling. It's twisting. One sidewalk 28 feet higher than the other, then swinging back the opposite direction. The oscillations are violent, chaotic. Coatsworth's car slides sideways across the roadway. He stops the car, gets out, tries to walk back to get Tubby. He's thrown to the pavement before he can reach the car door. Around him, the concrete roadway is cracking. Loud, sharp sounds like gunfire. The bridge is tearing itself apart. He crawls, on his hands and knees. 500 yards to the towers. His knees are bleeding, his hands are bruised and swollen from gripping the concrete curb. His breath is coming in gasps. He makes it off the bridge. Tubby doesn't. Another driver, Ruby Jackox, is in a delivery truck with Arthur Hagen. The truck tips over. They abandon it and crawl to safety. A photographer named Howard Clifford walks out onto the bridge to try to rescue Tubby. The motion throws him off his feet. He retreats. By 10:30, the bridge is cleared of people. The only living thing still on the deck is a three-legged cocker spaniel in the back seat of Leonard Coatsworth's car, waiting for someone to come back. At 11 o'clock, the center span breaks free. 600 feet of roadway twists, snaps, and plunges into Puget Sound. The towers remain standing, the side spans remain attached, but the center, the 2,800-foot suspended section that made this the third longest bridge in the world, is gone. Coatsworth's car, with Tubby inside, falls into the water. From the shore, two men are filming. Barney Elliott and Harbine Monroe, camera shop owners, have been recording the bridge's motion all morning on 16mm Kodachrome film. They capture the entire collapse. The footage is sold to Paramount Pictures. It's distributed worldwide in newsreels. In 1998, it's selected for the U.S. National Film Registry. 85 years later, it's still shown to engineering students in every program in the world. The most famous engineering failure ever recorded. For decades afterward, people argued about what killed the bridge. The early explanation was resonance. The idea that the wind frequency matched the bridge's natural frequency, creating a feedback loop that amplified the motion. Physics textbooks called it forced resonance. It made intuitive sense, but it was wrong. In 1991, engineers Yusuf Biller and Robert Scanlon published a paper that changed the understanding. The bridge didn't collapse because of resonance. It collapsed because of air-OE last tick flutter, a self-exciting oscillation. Here's the difference. Resonance requires an external force at a specific frequency, like pushing a swing at the right moment. If the wind changes speed or direction, the resonance stops. Aeroelastic flutter is different. Once the wind speed crosses a threshold, around 35 miles per hour for the 2 kOh Mu Narrows Bridge, the motion becomes self-sustaining. The bridge's own movement creates aerodynamic forces that amplify the motion. Negative damping. The faster it moves, the more energy it extracts from the wind. There's no specific frequency required. Any wind above the threshold will do it. And once it starts, it doesn't stop until something breaks. Theodore von Karman, the aerodynamicist who led the Board of Inquiry, initially thought vortex shedding was the cause. He was famous for his work on Karman vortex streets, the alternating vortices that form behind bluff bodies in wind. But later analysis showed that wasn't it either. The collapse was flutter, and flutter, unlike resonance or vortex shedding, couldn't be stopped by tie-down cables or hydraulic dampers. The bridge was designed to move, and once it started moving the wrong way, nothing could save it. In 1938, during the bridge's construction, an engineer named David B. Steinman stood up at a meeting of the American Society of Civil Engineers. Leon Moy Ziff was in the audience. Steinman had been passed over for the 2 kOh Mu Narrows project. His proposal had been rejected in favor of Moy Ziff's slender, flexible design. And Steinman predicted, on the record, in front of his peers, that the bridge would fail. The failure wasn't unforeseeable, it was foreseen, and they built it anyway. Tubby the Cocker Spaniel is the only creature who died when the 2 kOh Mu Narrows Bridge collapsed. But the bridge's death was filmed, and that footage has probably saved thousands of lives by teaching every engineer since what happens when you ignore the warning signs. Today, the remains of the original 2 kOh Mu Narrows Bridge rest at the bottom of Puget Sound. They're protected as a historic site. They form one of the largest man-made reefs in the world. A graveyard turned into an ecosystem. The replacement bridge, designed with everything they learned from Galloping Gertie's failure, opened on October 14, 1950. It's still standing. It doesn't sway. And every engineering student who watches that Kodachrome footage learns the same lesson. Elegance is not the same as soundness. And sometimes the cheaper option costs more than you can afford to lose. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit Room wherever you listen. Tell a friend who can't sleep. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit Room. See you in the dark.